There are moments in astronomy when a discovery doesn't just challenge our understanding of the universe. It demands we rethink our place in it. This story begins with a faint blip between Mars and Jupiter. At first, it was nothing remarkable, just another distant object drifting across the sky, easily dismissed among the thousands tracked every year. But what happened next would shake observatories across the world. The object was designated simply as Atlas. A small, unassuming point of light, barely noticeable on initial sky surveys. Astronomers marked it as an interstellar visitor, only the third ever detected passing through our solar system. Nothing about it stood out, until the cameras captured something impossible. Over the course of just a few nights, a deep red glow began to bloom around it, expanding outward like a living aura. No comet behaves like that. No asteroid radiates that kind of steady crimson sheen. The glow wasn't just strange, it was structured. Dozens of telescopes from Hawaii to Chile recorded the same phenomenon, a pulse. A beat. A rhythm. And when those pulses were analyzed, the numbers behind them made scientists fall silent. They matched prime number sequences. One of the rarest natural patterns in the cosmos. Something so unusual that when SETI researchers search for extraterrestrial signals, prime patterns are one of the first things they listen for. NASA publicly urged caution, reassuring everyone that comets often behave unpredictably. But behind closed doors, instruments were recalibrated, data rechecked, and emails carried a different tone. Nothing in our catalog, no comet, no interstellar shard, not even Oumuamua, has ever shown this kind of repeatable, intentional-looking behavior. As Atlas approached the orbit of Mars, another mystery surfaced. Its path wasn't bending the way it should. Gravity rules everything in space, yet somehow this object wasn't following the rules. It drifted a little too smoothly, deviated a little too gracefully, as if adjusting its course on its own. Within the European Southern Observatory, scientists argued over explanations. Exotic ISIS? A jet of vapor pointed just right? Or was the simplest explanation the most unsettling? That the object was controlling its own motion? One researcher, caught in a leaked audio clip, whispered what many were thinking. If this is just ice and rock, then it's acting like it has instructions. Speculation exploded. Online communities poured over every frame of Atlas, amplifying the mystery. Some believed they could see straight lines inside the red haze, like the edges of something hidden behind the glow. Others shrugged it off, calling it pareidolia, or human instinct to find meaning where none exists. Then something happened that even the skeptics couldn't easily dismiss. During the scheduled tracking window, every major telescope pointed at the object went dark. Not from mechanical failure, not from weather, not from interference. Just silence. 12 minutes later, the signal returned. And when it did, Atlas was 10 times brighter than before. NASA attributed it to a sudden burst of outgassing, but the timing was far too perfect to quiet the rumors. If Atlas had wanted attention, this was one way to get it. Behind the scenes, space defense agencies began moving pieces around. Surveillance satellites were retasked. High-level meetings were held without public mention. Teams that usually track space debris were suddenly modeling scenarios about hypothetical propulsion systems and artificial energy fields. The possibility, however remote, that this object wasn't natural had forced governments to consider things they had never formally prepared for. For everyday people, the effect was surprisingly unifying. Crowds gathered outside at night with binoculars and backyard telescopes, hoping for even a glimpse of the Crimson Wanderer. In shaky home-captured footage, the object flickered like a red ember floating against eternity. Millions felt, for the first time in their lives, that they were watching something history would remember. Scientists warned against jumping to conclusions. If you stare long enough at any cosmic oddity, patterns begin to appear. We're meaning-hungry creatures, always searching for intention in the chaos of space. But even the most skeptical researchers struggled to explain the combination of clues. A sustained crimson glow, prime number pulses, gravitational anomalies, and a blackout window followed by a dramatic surge in brightness. Atlas wasn't just strange, it was impossible to ignore. Whether it was a bizarre natural formation or something more, it had already accomplished one thing. It made humanity pay attention. And as the days passed, the mystery only. As Atlas continued its inward journey toward the sun, its behavior became even more erratic, and even harder to explain. Jets of gas shot outward not in random bursts like normal comets, but in filament-like streams that twisted and arced as if they were shaping themselves on purpose. Some astronomers joked darkly that they looked like antennae. Others weren't laughing. The pulse pattern in the glow stabilized instead of fragmenting. Normally, as a comet heats up, its emissions become chaotic, but this one became more orderly. Radio telescopes detected faint microwave signatures coming from the object. Not strong enough to be a message, but not random either. They sat suspiciously close to frequencies that many researchers consider ideal for long-distance communication. Still, official statements refused to shift. NASA maintained that no evidence supported the idea of artificial technology. But privately, mission scientists admitted that the odds of multiple unprecedented phenomena happening simultaneously were shrinking by the day. A new theory emerged among theoretical physicists, the lighthouse idea. It suggested Atlas wasn't aimed at Earth. It wasn't targeting anything at all. Instead, it might be a kind of automated beacon, a device that activates under certain cosmic conditions, like when a star system enters a specific region of the galaxy. If true, it meant Atlas was never intended to communicate with us. We were simply in the wrong place at a very interesting time. Another, even stranger hypothesis circulated among intelligence agencies, the Harbinger scenario. It proposed that Atlas could be a carrier. Not alone, but accompanied by smaller objects too faint to detect, dispersing silently into the solar system. Not as weapons, nothing so dramatic, but as sensors. Observers. Devices meant to monitor life, energy output, or technological progress. The only thing more unsettling than an alien probe arriving is one that doesn't care whether we see it. Just when the speculation seemed ready to boil over, another clue appeared. A tiny asteroid near Atlas shifted, its orbit nudged by a force slightly stronger than simple gravitational interaction should allow. The change was minuscule, not dangerous, but timed so precisely with Atlas's passing that it raised immediate red flags. Was it accidental? Or intentional calibration? A test? A demonstration? Yet it remained entirely possible that every bizarre observation had a simple explanation: strange ices, unfamiliar rotational physics, exotic surface material reacting with sunlight in a way we've never catalogued. Nature rarely behaves the way we expect. Many cosmic mysteries have dissolved once better instruments were pointed at them. But even hardened skeptics began admitting that Atlas represented one of the most unusual interstellar objects ever encountered. As it approached its closest point to the Sun, nearly every observatory capable of tracking it shifted into high alert. NASA, ESA, the Japanese Space Agency, radio arrays, radar stations, even classified satellites, all narrowing their focus on the Crimson Wanderer. The James Webb Space Telescope locked onto the object with its infrared sensors, searching for molecular signatures that could explain the glow. Ground-based radar tried mapping its outline, hoping to determine whether the surface was jagged stone, or something shaped with intent. Meanwhile, the world watched. Not with fear. with a strange, collective awe. For once, humanity leaned toward curiosity instead of panic. People stepped outside at night and pointed upward, not because they expected answers, but because they felt, deep down, that this moment mattered. Atlas's red heartbeat had done something rare. It had united billions in shared wonder. Soon, the object would slingshot around the sun, then drift back into the interstellar dark. And what happened during that final approach could determine whether the mystery would be solved or remain an eternal cosmic riddle. It might flare one last time and expose its true nature. It might emit a final pulse sequence. It might silently slip away, leaving nothing but questions. Or perhaps, just perhaps, its purpose was never to communicate at all. Maybe its job was simply to pass through, to observe, to measure, to witness the rise of a civilization staring back at the stars for the very first time. Whatever Atlas is, comet, artifact, probe, or something stranger, it has already changed us. It reminded us that the universe is vast and unpredictable. That wonder still exists. And that somewhere out there, in the deep cosmic ocean, something might be watching, waiting to see if humanity notices the knock on the door. And for the first time in generations,